Hello, everyone, and welcome to the preseason of the second season here of the UNLV Rebels in this NCAA 14 Dynasty mode series using the College Football Revamped mod. As we are at the point where now we can kind of go through the actual part of the video, because I'm sure everyone's probably like, well, what happened with signing day, who left, everything like that. So, kind of a not so great start to the offseason, because really we only signed one player on signing day. It was a JUCO tight end from Nevada, just to make sure we didn't lose the state. He sucks, but just wanted to make sure we got him, to make sure we have that pipeline still going in the state. Our only player that got drafted was Wilborn, and he got drafted in the 7th round. Nobody transferred in or out, and nobody left early. So really not the most talked about offseason we had, but thank God, we are going to have a pretty exciting team, I feel like, going into this. I haven't seen the training results yet, so I just want to see how the team's looking like now. And my God, Kyle Williams at 95. He's got maxed out awareness. Not that that really matters, but 99 catching, Jesus, 89 catching traffic, or 89 spec catching, 90 catching traffic with 90 route running. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, that man's going to be a problem. And then it looks like Justin Rogers bumped up to an 89, and even Doug went up to an 88. That's pretty nuts. So yeah, Rogers getting even better with 80 speed. He's got pretty good acceleration, agility still, obviously. The elusiveness went up. Just everything went up, obviously being a Heisman winner. 85 throw power. 84 throw actually went up 4 points. Awesome. So even somehow the Heisman Trophy winner didn't leave, and he's also going to be way better than he was when we were playing with him, which is odd. And Kyle Williams, of course, is up to a 95, which when you have 3 quarterbacks, nobody left. So I was thinking, maybe somebody should have transferred, especially the way the transfer portal was. Definitely someone would have left out of UNLV. Because you can't just have 3 quarterbacks like this, stacked pile, but, because they didn't transfer out, I was like, I guess I could have just picked, a random team to have, Martell leave. But Tate Martell's already transferred, 4 different places. So I was just like, better have him just stay put. I guess we could have Doug leave, but he's a sophomore, so he knows he's going to play next year. So that's all. It's just I guess everyone's just going to have to stay. Steve Jenkins up to an 88. That's pretty awesome. As far as and Chad's going to be an 84. I'm trying to think who would probably be our best freshman we had, as far as true freshmen to really show. I guess we can just go through the line really quick and just kind of see. Our receiving class is definitely needs to be improved as far as speed wise. I probably is the biggest thing I'm seeing. We don't even have a single person in 90 speed. It's something I'd like to address in recruiting. As far as catching goes, obviously Kyle Williams and then Steve Jenkins with 86 with everybody else. Not great. Not great at all. Tight end's going to be tough not having Gio with us anymore. Those redshirt freshmen, those got 74 speed at least. They got some pretty good acceleration and agility too. And pretty good trucking. We threw it to Caleb a little bit last year. And our line is obviously worse because we don't have Garcia anymore. He was a senior and he was an 86 right guard. Now we just have pretty much all mid-70 linemen. Some of them are pretty young though. We have a sophomore redshirt, a junior redshirt, and I think he's a sophomore, just a true sophomore at center. And our left guard's a senior, so we'll probably end up moving either the junior redshirt will be a senior next year, or the junior here to left guard next year. Probably how we guess, unless the freshman redshirt ends up being better. But yeah, pretty young on the offensive line, but especially Tiger Shanks here, he'll definitely be in the 80s if we, by the time we get to the 3rd year. If we don't obviously win the Natty though in our 2nd year here, we might just do it. we'd have to go undefeated, of course, and we'd have to beat some pretty big teams, but I think we can do it. It's our in situation. Well, actually, while I'm here, I think we can edit their positions here. Maybe not. I think that was earlier that I must have missed. As oh, there we go, an 80 defensive tackle. As LaShawn Bell and Jacoby Woodman, who didn't play at all last year, is now going to be our starting middle linebacker. We're probably playing a lot as 75 speed, is pretty agile, and let's see what his tackling is. 87 and 89 hit power, so that's great. Somebody that can actually tackle. We'll see, though. We'll see if they'll actually be able to tackle people. I hope so. I sure hope so. I mean, our linebacking core is actually really good. I like that 91 agility and 92 acceleration. This motherfucker doesn't have a lot of speed, but I think we used Plant Jr. a little bit, from what I remember. He spin and juke. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, can't really tackle, but has a lot of hit power, though. So corners are still, you don't have an 80 overall corner, but we somehow did pretty well. Well, I wouldn't say that. We started getting going there towards the end of the year, but there at the start, we were a terrible fucking pass defense team, but we got it figured out. Ricky Johnson is going to be our free safety with an 80 overall, and then we actually got a pretty good, like, we got 3 different safeties that are in the 80s, but I'm going to play Tyson Player a lot because he's the fastest out of everyone. His overall was better as a strong safety, so we just flipped him there, even though his speed was obviously should have probably been the free safety, but that's, kind of is what it is. I believe the game froze. So yeah, now we get to start back up again, where I guess it's just the kickers and whatnot, so we don't really have to go through that, because obviously that's the freshman kickers we brought in, and no one really cares about the punter, I guess. No one cares about Butt. So we'll just catch you back for when we, I think the next part is cutting players, so we'll go through that, and then we'll, think we'll be adding our schedule for next year, too, and that will end out the video. Nothing too crazy, but I think it's, it's fun to go through the roster just to kind of see where we're at going into year 2, and hopefully we can schedule some big-time teams. Hoping to schedule somebody that's in the top 15 for sure, and maybe 2 teams in the top 15. We'll kind of see how it goes. Alright, so let's just see. So we don't have to actually cut anybody. Perfect. But now we can kind of go through and just kind of see where our entire roster's looking like. So yeah, David Davis is going to be listed as a bust, which is so shitty. Robert Harris we probably could cut, to be honest. We might just do that, because he's a 59. He's got 80 speed, though, so he at least is kind of fast. Yeah, I mean, his hit power's okay for, like, a true freshman. I guess, well, I mean, we're just under the 70 player I think we're just going to keep everyone, to be honest. So they weren't cutting people, so we'll just go on through, and because we're not going to change the conferences. Just feel like that's a little too I'll try to keep it to real life as possible, so maybe we'll because obviously the changes happening throughout the the college football landscape, so maybe I should have, because that's I don't think it's next year, though. Maybe it is next year is when really a lot of the big conferences are being changed around. I was thinking it was 2023, but it might actually be 2022. So I completely forgot that a lot of times when you're setting up the offseason in your second year, that a lot of times the game will crash on you. It happened a couple times. I was trying to record the recruiting board. I was trying to go through and actually take my time, but it crashed twice on me. So the third time I was just like, fuck it. We'll take it slow and slowly build it up, and we'll just show it when we start off the year. So this video will be a little bit longer, as we're going to start end of the actual year. Same thing with red shirts and the depth chart as well. It crashed halfway through. The red shirt players kind of go through, which it's no big deal anyways. We'll, it's not a huge deal to show off everybody that was redshirt. And our depth chart doesn't really change. It's basically the same stars we had last year, except for we're going to have a new middle linebacker starting. But everybody else is pretty much the same. And besides Wilborn, too. He won't be on the defense. But basically everybody else is still around. We're still a young-ass team. As for the schedule looks like this that we set up. So we're going to have, as far as opening up the schedule, it's funny, this game was already scheduled for us. Didn't have to add it. At Arizona, we're going to open up this year on the road, looking to avenge that loss from last year, which that's going to be very, very fun. Then I scheduled Oklahoma for the second week. We're going to have a bye the third week before the Clemson game, which at first I was going to be like, well, we should probably face somebody in the top 10, and there's a couple other options. There's like Ohio State, and there was Alabama, but I was like, let's just go for the number one team. That is, at least as of right now. Obviously, we'll see once if we make it to week 4, still undefeated, how that game's going to play out. But I just felt like we needed a better schedule. It started off as an F. I forget who we had. I think it was Syracuse, and I forget who was the fourth team there instead of Clemson. But at first it was going to be maybe even Cincinnati, because Cincinnati was ranked pretty high. I think they were higher than Oklahoma. I think they were like 12. And I was just like, let's go with Clemson instead. That's going to be probably our only ranked people, as obviously anybody in the Mountain West is probably not going to be ranked. So we just figured we got to stack it against teams that are ranked. And then, if we don't win the Natty this year, then we'll probably have like 3 ranked teams and kind of go all over the place. And I try to go with that as well, like take a Big 12 team and a team that made it they were in the playoffs. They were in the final stretch of the playoffs, and I believe it was them in Alabama as far as and I think I might still have the screenshot for that actually to show. I might have it. I think I do. Let's bring that up too, because I almost forgot to not do that. So I'm glad I checked it just to show everyone. So this is how it looked like at the end. The final 4 teams: Clemson, Alabama, Iowa State, and shockingly, it wasn't Clemson, Alabama. It was Clemson and Iowa State, as Iowa State won, which is crazy to think about. As having Clemson make it there and to win, obviously, and also Utah, a team that we beat, made it to the Final Four because they were the best team in the Pac-12. That was kind of like the game. We had the best team from the ACC, best team from the SEC, the best team from the Big 12, and then the best team from the Pac-12. Because really, I think that's kind of how it went. As far as Clemson actually lost towards the end, they didn't lose their conference game. They lost kind of like the last game of the year, but they were still only a 1-loss team, which they were undefeated going up to that point, so I just felt like they still should have been number 1. And that's just where we're looking like as far as that goes. We'll advance to the regular season now to show off the recruiting board, which we have a lot of high-profile athletes that are wanting to come here, which is awesome, and then we're going to try to even get guys that are not under the umbrella that they are wanting to come in. I will say this: the number 1 quarterback in the nation has us as far as, I think we were in the top 3, which that's awesome. That's very, very cool. I believe we scouted him. I think he might have been a bust, though, which is pretty hilarious. Of course, we get the number 1 quarterback that wants to be here, and then he's a bust, which sucks. But I think as far as, luckily, Doug is probably going to be pretty awesome, even though he's not really the type of quarterback I love. As far as his speed is pretty slow, but by the time he plays his junior year, he'll probably be in the 90s. So that's going to be really, really cool. And last year for Justin Rogers, basically the last year for Martell too, which sucks that we won't be able to use Martell. Oh, look, as a preseason All-American, preseason All-Conference, and we found Jim in a bust. So I'm just, we'll go through the recruiting board, showing where everything's at, because I didn't really organize it or anything. Number 1 quarterback in the nation, a 6'5" scrambling quarterback from, as far as from Georgia.
we're gonna offer him all the scholarships and whatnot once we kind of get everything rocking and rolling. We'll just go ahead and send one now, though. The number one middle linebacker in the nation, which he is looking to join probably a Mountain West team or a Pac-12 team. You see Washington State's up there, but most of those are Mountain West Conference teams. I believe he is a 76. So yeah, he's got 90 acceleration though, which that's got me excited. He's pretty fucking awesome. The number one quarterback, we got the number one quarterback and cornerback from North Miami. Another scholarship, obviously. The fifth quarterback, which so Cincinnati and us were 1 and 2 for both Trevor Gibson and Kyle Jones. But you see, Kyle Jones is the better of the two as far as speed wise. It's dead center is similar, just the accuracy of Trevor Gibson is not the same as Kyle Jones. So Kyle Jones is better, so we'll just go ahead and put him up there. Also, throw up Jacob Fernandez as well, and Ruffin. And now it kind of it goes downhill. The 47th receiver from Minnesota. Pretty fast, actually, for a true freshman. 88 speed. That's just like one of the fastest guys we have if he was like on the roster right now. Which is just hilarious. I think Matt East, 6'4", pretty fast as well, 90 speed. Alright catching, not great as far as spec catch, but definitely like a prospect though. We're going to give him one too. Joe Campbell, just a California kid, 44th DN. That's when the class kind of goes downhill though. It's pretty, as far as the acceleration's great and has potential there, but the power moves and finesse. But I don't think we're going to keep him around. I think we're just going to remove him because we don't need him. And then the 40th D tackle, he's a 67. Oh, a JUCO receiver. Kind of fast. Doesn't really have a lot of great stats though. Probably remove him as well. There's a California kid again. This 87th DN. So yeah, he stayed the same. Pretty good power moves, so we'll keep him. Now we have athletes that some, right now, Jerome Mason, we're 6th or 7th for Danny Bowen. Wow, so a lot of these guys I kind of added afterwards that we weren't even in their top 10. So that's really, really cool to see that everybody down here. So just with our class, because our class is pretty small as far as what we need. We only need a quarterback from offense, and then defensively it's middle linebacker and corner. Because obviously we have a very, very young team. So instead of having a small class again, might as well go for some of the top athletes. Even though this is an Alabama kid who's probably going to go to Alabama. He's got 98 speed. He can hit, he can catch, he can do it all. He can really do a lot of different things besides throw. But yeah, looks like he's a pretty good corner. As far as that's probably what he'd play. Even though he's a white dude. There's hardly any white corners. But then his route running's pretty good. He might be a receiver though. Got a lot of different, obviously, being an athlete, got a lot of different paths he can go. As far as Danny Bowen, 96 speed again, very, very fast. Very much a gem. He's got much better zone coverage, so I think he's definitely a corner. But also, you see, get 87 elusiveness, 86 juke, 85 spin. Could definitely be a running back. So that's exciting. If we get him, he'd probably play a running back for us. I don't know, though. Our corners are pretty bad at the same time. I want to say I got more speed. Yeah, because of the 90 speed as a linebacker. Pretty goddamn fast. We definitely need that. Another pretty good corner. 88 zone, 84 man, 95 speed. Even though he's a white corner again. We'll probably go through the prospect editor. I think just the database editor, the Dynasty editor, and change some of that the way there's no white corners. There's Jamal Gates, just for a little bit more realism. Has 84 zone, 80 man, 94 speed. Another great corner to add to the list. And then John Reed, another athlete, 77, 95 speed. Could be a corner again. Obviously, pretty good running skills as well. Vision's okay. Probably wouldn't be a receiver, though, looking at those stats. But corner, not bad. Or maybe, definitely, I don't know though. His tackling's pretty bad, so I would probably have him just be a running back, to be honest. But I'm sure someone might put him at a receiver. Assuming no one wants to schedule a visit on the first day. Another athlete, Patrick Green, 93 speed. Not great tackling again. Definitely is, as far as maybe a receiver, probably a running back, though. It's a tough one to really gauge. Yeah, I mean, he could kind of be, definitely not like if he's a corner, that kind of works. And I think it froze again. Yep, sure did. So hopefully all that, as far as, we just did the, mostly it was just going to be the scholarships is what we're going to offer at first for this to end out the episode. But as we freeze towards the end, you get the gist of it, though. Most of them are pretty high-level athletes. Got a lot of great corners, because our corners aren't the greatest. Like, most of our corners we have are worse or just as good as these true freshmen that we have lined up to try and bring in. Definitely could use that as an improvement to help our defense out. And, we're going to try to get a very high-level quarterback, too, a young freshman quarterback who will probably redshirt a year and then maybe try to go for the job. For Doug, maybe he'll play better than Doug as far as just me, as far as being able to move with him. He's pretty fast, pretty mobile quarterback. As thank you all for watching this the off-season video, as that was, this team, it's basically the same team that you just saw in this last season. So the height to reach it, I will say this, though. It's going to be a little different this time around, because it's going to be 8-minute quarters instead of 10. Just the 10-minute quarter is a little too long, and I felt like it gave me a lot of room to work with. But now with 8 minutes, maybe the stats won't be so crazy. Plus, it gives me a little less time to work with. The amount of comeback or anything, that's going to be great. A little bit more competitive, I think. Thank you all, and we'll catch you guys next time for the season opener against Arizona. Hopefully we can avenge that one loss we've had.